There's a man who travels across the United States, interviewing individuals aged 70 to 100 about their biggest regrets, most valuable lessons, advice to their younger selves. Interestingly, many of their responses are strikingly similar. Here are my top 8 insights from these wise souls.
How old are you?
Old, 79.
How does it feel to be 79?
Crazy, because my body's 79, but my spirit's 26.
What is something you thought was really important when you were younger, but as you got older you realized it wasn't that important?
Probably money, even though it matters, makes it easier, but it doesn't guarantee joy. Good health is important, and luckily I am blessed.
Have you ever lost someone you really love?
Yeah, my husband. We were together 43 years, married 38. We had a great life, but it ended.
How did that impact you?
I was sad, but life goes on, and you have to make the best of it.
A lot of people aren't able to move on though. How were you able to move on from that?
I guess just inner strength, not wanting to be a victim. It's not what happens to you, it's how you handle what happens to you.
What is something you really wanted to say to him that you never got a chance to say?
Wish we had more time, because you never know when it's going to end. So you think it's going to go on forever, and then it comes as a surprise.
So if you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what would you tell her?
Appreciate every day. Don't take things for granted.
What is something you thought was really important when you were younger, but as you got older, you realized it wasn't that important?
Material goods and more money than one really needs. As a younger person, I think, we tend to want to make a lot of money and acquire a lot of material things, have a big house, great car, all those things. And, I realize that's not what life is about. Life's about your relationships, love, and being able to know what abundance really is and what enough means and having enough. It's peaceful. I love being peaceful.
What does abundance mean to you?
Paying the bills when they come in the mail, wanting what we have so that we don't want more, and more than anything, relationships, quality relationship with family and friends and yourself. Life's simple. It's not that complicated. And the more complicated we try to make it, the more peace you lose, right? I mean, simplify. That's where we're at. I got a beautiful wife. I got a great family. I've got my health. I've got enough money that I don't have to worry about things. It's not like we're, billionaires or multimillionaires, but we're totally fine. And it isn't.
How old are you?
95.
What's your secret for looking so great at 95?
Being up always, not being negative. I'm a positive person. I don't worry about tomorrow. It's a present.
That's amazing. So you think that's the secret for staying young, is being positive?
I really do. Not for everybody. My husband was positive. It didn't work for him.
When did he pass away?
Almost 40 years ago. I guess I'm not positive when it comes to that.
What is something you regret the most in your life?
Losing my husband.
What do you love the most about your husband?
Oh, he was fantastic. He was loving, he was honest, gave me 3 wonderful sons. He was just a fantastic man in every way.
What is something you really wanted to say to your past husband that you never got a chance to tell him?
Maybe I didn't tell him I loved him enough, because he said it all the time.
So if you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what would you tell her?
That I was lucky enough for him to find me. And I'm so happy that I had at least 39 years.
What is something you thought was really important when you were younger, but as you got older you realized wasn't that important?
Material things. Now we live on a boat and we sold pretty much everything. We thought we would miss it, regret it, whatever. No, don't.
We spent our youth trying to get bigger and bigger houses and nicer cars and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of that stuff now is meaningless.
So what is meaningful in life?
Relationship, health.
Friends, being social, love every moment, live every day.
What is a big mistake you've made that you learned a valuable lesson from?
Too numerous to count.
And obviously, since they're too numerous to count, we don't always learn our lessons.
Right.
I would say not living on a boat earlier.
Yeah, not following our dream earlier.
So if you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what would you say?
I would say everything's going to be all right, so just chill.
I'd say maybe have a few more adventures that we otherwise didn't.
How old are you?
93.
What's your secret for looking so great at 93?
Walking, reading, watching television. The biggest thing is exercise. You have to have something you do.
In your 93 years of life so far, is there anything that you regret?
A lot of friends, a lot of them passed away, including my wife a couple of years ago.
How has that impacted you?
Well, it's kind of lonesome. I miss her. Don't have anybody to fight with.
What do you miss the most about her?
Just the companionship, having somebody to tell things to. I go places, do things, and then I haven't got anybody to tell about it, which is kind of sad.
What is something you really wanted to say to your past wife that you never got a chance to say?
Oh, I loved her. Loved her more than maybe she loved me.
If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what advice would you give him?
Have fun, enjoy yourself, enjoy the years, because eventually they go by. When you're young, you never think you're going to be old. But it happens somehow, some way.
How old are you?
78.
If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what would you tell him?
I would tell him the desire to have material possessions, to compete in that very artificial and empty world is a waste of time, it's useless, and it's very negative. And that to look for relationships. My curiosity is about people.
Have you ever lost someone you really love?
Yes, my father. I miss him every day. He was a very positive influence on me.
What's an experience you've had with your dad that really changed you as a person, that really stands out to you?
There was one day when I was really in a bad way in my first marriage, and I went to him and I was very upset and I was crying, and he finally realized that I was suffering, and he put his arms around me and he said, "I will make it my business to make sure that you get better." And that was a significant moment in my life.
What is something you really wanted to say to your father that you never got a chance to tell him?
How much I think I have become more like you, Dad, than either I or you could ever have imagined.
How old are you?
I'm going to be 82.
What is something you thought was really important when you were younger, but as you got older you realized it wasn't that important?
When I was younger, life was all about what I want to be, and it was all based around money. But as you get older, you start realizing life's not all about you. Life goes by too quick.
Have you ever lost someone you really love?
Of course, still hurts. When you lose a mom and dad that loved me so much, and I love them, I can't wait to meet them again someday.
When did you lose your parents?
15 years ago or so. I think of them every day, and I thank them for what they taught me. My parents were tough on me, but I needed it. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't think they loved me. They loved me. That's why they made me do the right things.
What is the greatest lesson your parents taught you?
Be honest. If you say that you're going to be someplace at a certain time, be there. Don't try to fool somebody. Just be real with your soul. So at night when you go to bed, you could live with yourself.
So if you could give one piece of advice to someone younger than you, what would you say?
You're close to your mom and dad, because they're only here for a moment.
How old are you?
I am 73.
How does it feel to be 73?
It feels great. I don't feel 73. I can't believe I got here.
What is something you thought was really important when you were younger, but as you got older you realized it wasn't that important?
Money. It was always about making money and having money, and as long as you have enough to eat, keep a roof over your head, you're good.
So what does matter in life?
Love, family, all the non-material things that get you through.
Have you ever lost someone you really love?
I just lost my father last year. That was really hard.
How did losing your dad a year ago impact you?
He was 98. He lived a wonderful life, and we all knew that. But at the same time, none of us were ready to see him go.
Is there anything you miss about him?
I miss everything. I miss his sayings. I miss talking to him every morning. Just everything. He was an amazing man.
What is something you really wanted to say to him that you never got a chance to say?
I just hope that he knows how wonderful of a father we all thought he was.
If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your younger self, what would you tell her?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't sweat the little stuff. It's all gonna work itself.